Another Day, Another Story. Crime and Punishment is a novel written by Fyodor Dostoevsky, first published in 1866. It is one of the most famous works of Russian literature and is considered a masterpiece of psychological fiction. The novel is set in Saint Petersburg, Russia, and follows the story of Rodion Raskolnikov, a young and impoverished former student. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. The plot revolves around Raskolnikov's inner turmoil and moral conflict after he commits a murder. He believes himself to be a superior individual, above the laws that govern ordinary people, and rationalizes the murder of a pawnbroker as a means to rid society of a worthless person and to prove his own greatness. However, he is tormented by guilt and paranoia after the crime. As the novel progresses, Raskolnikov's psychological state deteriorates, and he becomes increasingly isolated and alienated from society. Rodion Raskolnikov, a former student living in poverty, is the protagonist of the novel. He harbors radical ideas about the nature of morality and believes in the concept of the Superman, an individual who is above the constraints of conventional morality and is justified in committing extraordinary acts for the greater good. Driven by his theories and his dire financial situation, Raskolnikov plans and executes the murder of Alyona Ivanovna, a miserly pawnbroker whom he sees as a parasite on society. However, he also kills Alyona's innocent sister, Lizaveta, who happens to be present during the crime. After committing the murders, Raskolnikov is plagued by intense guilt and paranoia. He struggles to reconcile his actions with his conscience and experiences vivid hallucinations and feverish delirium. Meanwhile, he tries to evade suspicion and maintain a facade of normalcy in his interactions with others. Throughout the novel, Raskolnikov grapples with his inner turmoil and wrestles with the consequences of his actions. He forms a complex relationship with Sonia, a devout and compassionate prostitute who becomes a source of moral guidance and emotional support for him. Sonia's unwavering faith and forgiveness challenge Raskolnikov's cynical worldview and inspire him to confront his guilt and seek redemption. As the investigation into the murders unfolds, Raskolnikov becomes increasingly entangled in a psychological cat-and-mouse game with Porfiry Petrovich, the shrewd police detective assigned to the case. Porfiry suspects Raskolnikov's involvement in the crime and employs various tactics to elicit a confession from him, but Raskolnikov remains defiant and evasive. Ultimately, Raskolnikov's internal conflict reaches a climax when he confesses his crime to Sonia and later to Porfiry. Through his confession and subsequent trial, Raskolnikov undergoes a profound spiritual transformation and comes to acknowledge the full extent of his guilt. He is sentenced to exile in Siberia, where he begins a journey of moral and psychological redemption. As Raskolnikov serves his sentence in Siberia, he undergoes a profound transformation. Cut off from the distractions of society and forced to confront his innermost thoughts and feelings, he begins to grapple with the true nature of his crime and the depth of his guilt. The harsh conditions of Siberian exile serve as a crucible for Raskolnikov's soul, forcing him to confront the consequences of his actions and come to terms with his moral responsibility. During his time in exile, Raskolnikov encounters a diverse array of fellow prisoners, each with their own stories of suffering and redemption. Through his interactions with these individuals, he gains a deeper understanding of the human condition and the universal struggle for meaning and redemption. One of the most significant relationships Raskolnikov forms during his exile is with Sonia, who has followed him to Siberia out of love and devotion. Sonia's unwavering faith and compassion serve as a beacon of hope for Raskolnikov, inspiring him to confront his demons and seek redemption for his crimes. Despite the hardships they face, Raskolnikov and Sonia find solace in their shared commitment to love and forgiveness, forging a bond that transcends the boundaries of guilt and shame. As Raskolnikov reflects on his past actions and their consequences, he begins to undergo a profound spiritual awakening. He comes to recognize the inherent dignity and worth of every human being, regardless of their actions or circumstances. Through acts of kindness and selflessness, Raskolnikov seeks to atone for his past sins and embrace a new path of moral integrity and redemption. By the time Raskolnikov's sentence comes to an end, he has undergone a profound transformation. No longer consumed by guilt and despair, he emerges from exile a changed man, ready to embrace a new life of meaning and purpose. Though the scars of his past will always remain, Raskolnikov finds hope in the possibility of redemption and the power of love to overcome even the darkest of sins. As Raskolnikov continues his journey of self-discovery and redemption in Siberia, he grapples with the profound implications of his actions and the weight of his guilt. Despite the harsh conditions of his exile, he finds solace in the natural beauty of the Siberian wilderness and the simple joys of everyday life. Throughout his time in Siberia, Raskolnikov undergoes a process of moral and spiritual reckoning. He reflects on the events that led him to commit murder and confronts the underlying motives and beliefs that drove him to such extreme measures. Through introspection and self-examination, he begins to unravel the complex web of guilt, shame, and remorse that has consumed him since the fateful day of the crime. At the same time, Raskolnikov finds himself drawn to the stories and experiences of his fellow prisoners. He listens to their tales of suffering and redemption, finding common ground in their shared humanity. Through these interactions, Raskolnikov gains valuable insights into the nature of forgiveness, compassion, and the transformative power of love. One of the most significant relationships Raskolnikov forms during his time in Siberia is with Sonya, whose unwavering faith and devotion continue to inspire him on his journey of redemption. Despite the physical distance separating them, Raskolnikov and Sonya remain connected by a deep bond of love and understanding, transcending the barriers of guilt and shame that have plagued them both. As Raskolnikov's sentence draws to a close, he emerges from exile a changed man. Though scarred by the memories of his past actions, he finds new purpose and meaning in life, determined to make amends for his sins and embrace a future guided by principles of compassion and moral integrity. Upon his return to society, Raskolnikov seeks to atone for his crimes and rebuild his shattered life. He seeks reconciliation with those he has wronged and strives to live a life of virtue and humility. Though the road ahead is fraught with challenges and uncertainties, Raskolnikov faces the future with renewed hope and determination, knowing that the path to redemption lies not in the erasure of past mistakes, but in the courage to confront them and the strength to choose a better way forward. Crime and Punishment is a timeless tale of sin and redemption that continues to resonate with readers around the world. Through its exploration of guilt, suffering, and the human capacity for forgiveness, Dostoevsky's masterpiece offers profound insights into the complexities of the human soul and the universal struggle for meaning and redemption. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.